We have the strongest and most powerful by far military in the world, and we will easily prevail.
No apologies, no hesitation, epic fury for them and the thousands of Americans before them taken too soon by Iranian radicals.
And there you have it, the words of President Donald Trump and his Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth showing resolve for change through military force in Iran. Well, you can see the smoke rising from many vantage points. U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran continue. As we learn, 4 American personnel are dead. CBS News Middle East reporter Courtney Kealy tracking reaction inside Iran. But first, our team coverage conversation continues with Axios senior political reporter Marc Caputo. Okay, so Marc, let's get right to your thoughts. You're reporting that the U.S. and Israel planned to strike Iran a week earlier, but then the attack was delayed. What do you know about that?
What we know is there was a moment in negotiations where the Trump administration figured that Iran was just not negotiating in good faith. And so President Trump started considering targets of opportunity and times of opportunity. And for a brief moment, about a week ago, we don't have an exact date, one of those targets of opportunity and times of opportunity appeared to manifest itself. And so there was a feeling to possibly proceed then, but there were a number of reasons for delay. There wasn't quite a good enough coordination with the Israelis. And also there was a weather issue. There was concern that the weather wasn't right for a strike. As you know, these sorts of military matters and maneuvers sometimes are dependent on weather. Weather was one of the things, for instance, that delayed the capture of Nicolas Maduro in January by the United States until later on January 3rd. And so similarly here, there was a weather issue and a component as well as a coordination issue. The timeline we now see and has now started to become clearer is that the decision really started to pick up more steam earlier this week or earlier last week. And on Thursday, the president had pretty much made his mind up. And then from the press conference today with the defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, they made clear that on the afternoon of Friday, the president made the final decision to go ahead.
And it was go time at that point. That is fascinating timeline revelation there. Axios senior political reporter Marc Caputo, thank you so much for giving us a window into those critical moments of decision making. Now let's go to CBS News Middle East reporter Courtney Kealy. Courtney, on the question of escalation, a lot of people are really wondering what happens in the region. What kind of response are we seeing from countries that are all within the line of fire?
Well, we saw a jet fly over airspace into Iraq. We've seen Israeli jets respond. We've seen soft targets being hit in places like Qatar and Bahrain. And I can also tell you, though, while all of this is happening, I have spoken to people in Qatar. They're okay. They're listening to the sounds of war, but they're not seeking shelter, to very experienced people that I've spoken to in the last hour. But we are, there are shelter in place for people everywhere, really. A really significant thing that just came out, and I can't guarantee if this is going to hold, but Hezbollah did try to get involved from southern Lebanon, which sits on that northern border of Israel. The Lebanese government, which has been working with the U.S. government, banned Hezbollah. Now, this is the first time in my whole career, which is quite long, that we've seen the Lebanese government try to wrest that power from Hezbollah and say, don't bring us into this war. That's
fascinating. Hezbollah, long known as a proxy for Iran. Let's talk about the leadership in Iran. Barring any U.S. intervention under normal circumstances, let's say the supreme leader just died of natural causes, who would have been the natural line of succession, and how are the chess pieces moving given the U.S. intervention?
Well, the chess pieces are being moved, and they were being moved the minute we heard that the supreme leader was dead. They were already looking for a new one. And so according to the Islamic Republic's constitution, Article 111, they named 3-person intermediary government. One of those people is the head of the judiciary, who was the person that was really responsible for coming down with death sentencings and execution rulings after those massacres in January. But the key person that I'm keeping an eye on out of the Guardian Council is Ali Reza, I'm going to tell it right now, Arafi. This is a new name for many of us, myself included. He's a member of the Guardian Council. When the Guardian Council is able to meet, and I'm telling you right now, they're doing it on phone apparently with the early voting, not in person after Saturday's in-person meeting. He is emerging as the potential leader. Now, they want a religious cleric, a pious but also regimist.
You have deep sourcing in Iran. What is the reaction from the people you're talking to about that potential change in leadership?
I wrote this down, so I'll get it straight. People are still hoping. People are barely getting out on the internet. I've heard from friends that have been able to talk to loved ones through a phone card, just a regular state-given phone card from Iran. They speak in code. Love you. How are you? Fine. Everything's fine, which means they're still okay. There are explosions in Tehran, rattling. People are choosing war over this regime. A terrible choice, but a choice that they want because they want the regime out. And one person who finally just got on the internet said to a very credible source, "I feel like a prisoner who knows people are on the other side of the wall and are working to break it open for him."
Powerful words said off the top of this broadcast. We are literally having a front row to history. Courtney Kealy, thank you for giving us a window into some of that reaction there in Iran.